Welcome to another cool episode with me, Marlon Toy, where we discuss all things wild and wonderful. This time, a very, very interesting topic, and I think that many of you have struggled with in the past. What should you get next? A new lens or upgrade your camera? This is an important question because it has a big effect on your photography, your experience, your editing, the whole shebang. It really is an important decision. Not all of us can go out and just buy a brand new bag of cameras and lenses, and sometimes it comes down to one or the other. Well, let's face it, it's pretty damn expensive. Cameras are not cheap and lenses definitely not, especially when you want to get some of the better lenses or the fixed telephoto primes or anything like that. It is not cheap, and you really have to give some good thought to this. And like I said, it's a question I get very often. I'm a safari guide. I travel many days every year, and we always talk about what gear is required for the upcoming trip. In so doing, I've learned quite a lot, and I've been able to figure out what's in the best interest for many of my clients, and I've seen it put into practice when we're out on a safari. So, without further ado, let's break it down. Let's say you want to get a new camera. What should you consider, or what are the reasons that you would step into that market? Why get a new camera? Let's think about it. For me, a big one would be, if you're still on DSLR, definitely, I wouldn't even hesitate to switch to mirrorless. That's a massive upgrade. Why? It's just new. DSLRs are very much in the past. Yes, they still work, and yes, the person behind the camera can still get a good photo. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about technology here and what can really make you step up your game in photography. DSLRs are old, mirrorless is new, as simple as that. When you get into your mirrorless camera, some of the big upgrades would be the fact that you can see your exposure live. That is amazing. The fact that you can see through the viewfinder or the back of your camera, the screen, what you see there is what you get. That's the actual thing, from depth of field to exposure. It's the way it looks. That is how it's going to look when you put that into the computer after taking the photo, obviously. So that's a great thing. It's live. You see it as it happens. Okay? Huge bonus with mirrorless cameras. All right, what's another reason for an upgrade? Certainly resolution. That is a big one. Many people now want more resolution, and I can understand it. It allows you to better capture quality, detail of your subject, and it makes editing easier. You can also get away with a lens that doesn't necessarily zoom as much. For example, if you only have a 3mm zoom, you can crop in a little bit for missing out by not having a longer zoom. There's many advantages, but certainly better resolution is a big step up in camera gear. It's also interesting to note that some of the top flagship cameras coming out, like the A9 III and the R3 from Canon, those are not high resolution cameras. But for what they lack there, they make up in many other functions and features. But resolution would be one. A faster shutter speed is another reason, a great reason to upgrade your camera. It's great to shoot at faster shutter speeds for wildlife and action and birds in flight. It really helps you to capture those moments in between. And those little moments can make all the difference, whether an eye is open or the ear is forward or the foot is up. Little things that really make a difference. What about ISO and low light performance? This camera certainly can help with that. Expensive pro gear. It allows you to shoot in lower light, and it allows you to push your ISO higher and higher. And then coupled with today's denoise software from applications like Lightroom Denoise or DxO, Pure Raw, or Topaz, you can really extract so much from your image, allowing you to shoot in real low light. Things that you don't often think about would be like features in the camera, how it's built, the ergonomics. Is it strong? Is it water resistant? Can you take it out into the elements? If you're a travel photographer and you're going to find yourselves in rain and in forests or in snow in the mountains, then surely you really want a camera body that can take a little bit of a beating. And those are all great reasons to improve and upgrade your camera. What about the lenses? All right, so we're gonna come back to the camera and do a bit of a comparison. But lenses, why would you upgrade your lens? Why would you change lenses? I think for starters, one of the biggest reasons for a pure upgrade in lens would be to go from a zoom lens or normal zoom lens, say like 100 to 400 or 200 to 600 or 100 to 500. You want to get into the telephoto game. You want a fixed 300, a fixed 400, a 600 mil. There's a massive jump in quality, incredible jump in quality. We're going to talk a bit more about that, but that would be for me a big reason to upgrade, is to go from a lens, especially a telephoto lens, which is the one you're probably going to use the most on safari or in Africa, and to make it a fixed telephoto lens. That is a big, big upgrade and a really good reason to upgrade if you're able to afford it and if it works into your bigger plan. What do you get from such an upgrade? Certainly very, very sharp photographs. That's a massive gain. It saves you editing afterwards, having to fix images. You just know the photograph as it comes out of camera is going to be sharp and clear with a lot of contrast. Yes, lenses actually give contrast. It's not just the glass. The glass in these telephoto lenses, the expensive lenses, it makes your image look beautiful. Clarity, detail, and contrast. Faster autofocus. That's a big reason for shifting. Pro lenses, telephoto lenses, the fixed ones, the $10,000, $12,000 lenses, they are really, really good. They're really fast in terms of autofocus. Some of them have dual autofocus systems, pushing that lens to focus as fast and accurately as possible. That would be a great reason for an upgrade. Also, what you get with that is more accurate autofocus. So more precise in terms of how it tracks the subject, how it locks onto the subject. For example, low light autofocus isn't as good in lenses that are not able to compete. So your lens at the moment, you'll find maybe that when the light gets low, or when you're shooting into direct sunlight, that it tracks a lot, it's searching a lot for the subject. The top-end lenses don't do that as often. They're very accurate, from the coatings on the glass to the speed of the autofocus motors. It all comes together to help you when the light is low or when you're shooting into direct sunlight. Another reason for an upgrade could be that you're interested in a newer lens. So you have the Mark I and the Mark II has just launched. There'll be certain features in there that would be better. The lens might be a bit lighter. It might give you better sealing in terms of being able to deal with weather. There's a few upgrades, image quality, the glass quality. And what you'll notice in telephoto lenses or really expensive lenses, they're not upgraded all that often. Find zoom telephotos like a 7200 or 2470, perhaps every 4 or 5 years, there'll be a new model. But the fixed, bigger telephoto lenses, it's not often that they are replaced. And that's a great thing, because it means when you purchase, your lens retains value, and it's not, fortunately, something we're going to have to buy every 2 years at that price point. Can you imagine? Then what's great about the lenses is then when you've upgraded, you can start unlocking the world of teleconverters. I'm not a big fan of using a teleconverter on lenses that are not of high quality. The moment you do that, you tend to lose quality, especially when you're zooming in. So if you have a 200 to 600 and you get from 5 to 600 mil on a 2 times teleconverter, it's not great territory to be in. You're going to lose some image quality, especially in low light or shooting into sunlight. So I'm not saying you can't do it, but the effect on a telephoto lens, like 600 with teleconverters or 400 with teleconverters, incredible. And you're opening up a whole new world. Now, I've told you a little bit, camera versus lens. What is it that you're going to be doing? Are you going to upgrade your camera? Are you going to upgrade your lens? Now, I think if you want to see a real difference in your photograph, you want to be able to just upload and immediately see the difference visually. Just, as the image appears, that biggest difference is going to come through your lens, the lens that you put onto your camera. I would rather shoot a slightly lower quality camera body on a high top class lens. the photograph is going to look more pleasing to you. Yes, you may not have the resolution. You may not have the shutter speed. Maybe even not the ISO performance. But the image will be great. It's going to be sharper because the lens is better. You're going to autofocus better. And also the bokeh, however you say it, will be really impressive. Shooting lenses like f2.8 lenses means you get beautiful background blur, which is a big reason to upgrade your lens. I should have mentioned it earlier. And, you got to really think it through. If you're on a limited budget, or if you finally saved enough money for that telephoto prime and you're ready to take that step, do you upgrade? Now the A9 III has just dropped, or a new whatever the other, the R1 or another camera model, and you're like, man, what do I do here? It's so tempting to go for the camera, but other than faster autofocus and frame rates and resolution, which sound very good, you're not going to see the difference you want. You're not going to have that pro look to your photograph because that comes through the lens. It really does. It's an important thing. What I would also suggest is, it's expensive to upgrade anything like this. And if you do, let's say you're living in the US or in Europe and you come to Africa 2 or 3 times a year at most, spending $12,000 or $13,000 on a lens that you're going to use for 12 days of the year or 20 days of the year, it's probably not the most responsible investment if you're really tight on budget. Why not rent then? I would really suggest, if you come out and you can't afford it and you've just bought a new camera body and you're happy with that, rent a great lens. Rent a telephoto zoom or a telephoto lens, something of high quality. Bring it with you. I know it's extra money, but you've already invested so much in the trip that you're about to go on. It's so well worth investing in a lens that can accompany that'll give you the results you want. Honestly, the difference will be so impressive and you'll absolutely love the experience on a high quality professional lens. So I hope that answers your questions for your new lens or camera. For me, the biggest difference in your photo, purely, what it looks like and how it displays, will come through the lenses. And the great thing is, if you invest in an expensive telephoto prime lens, or a 70-200 or 24-70, those are not cheap lenses. They don't replace them very often, and you'll have a lens there that you can use even if the newer model comes out. They're so well made that your older model will still work very well and give you many years of great photography. So my advice, if you do for an upgrade, you already have a mirrorless camera that's half decent. Maybe it's an A9 II and not an A9 III, or maybe you have the A1 but you want the A9 III. Instead of that, if you have budget, get a new lens, get the 300-8, get something that will just take your images from a normal telephoto zoom to a prime or something in that game. I promise you the difference will be very impressive. Guys, thank you for your time. My name is Marlon du Toit. I look forward to going back into the wild with you all again soon. Bye-bye.